Now, when I first started getting into hats, I wasn't a huge fan of dry fit hats just because of the material being light and kind of weird. But then once I started getting into biking, especially biking to work, it's about a mile and a quarter from here to work, I needed a dry fit hat to actually take more of a beating than a cotton hat. Because, cotton hats are, still nice to wear, but these dry fit hats, these are the ones that absorb the sweat the best. Having the right hat for biking is so important because you're going to be out in the sun a lot, so you're going to need the visor to be as low as possible so you can really focus on the road. You don't have the sun in your face. You're going to need a material that's, the dry fit kind of stuff, where you can really sweat through it and won't do a thing. Won't do a thing to the hat. Making sure that's adjustable is really important too, because that way you can adjust for when your head kind of inflates and kind of deflates a bit from the heat. This Adidas hat I got originally because I was going to be biking a lot, and it's helped out a lot. I mean, I haven't cleaned it in a while, I should, but it works out really well for biking. Of course for running too, but I got it for biking. It's always a good day for biking. So if you just need a hat that can just absorb sweat, get wet, feels comfortable, and the light material, dry fit is the best option. And I have a few more examples here of dry fit material. This is an Adidas flat brim hat, and I got this at Dick's Sporting Goods. It was like $10 for our vacation. It's kind of like a snapback dry fit, which is an interesting combination. And this is 100% nylon. So nylon material is also good for absorbing sweat. But it's the same idea where it's this light material that isn't fabric, but it's material that's kind of designed to absorb the sweat. So there's one more type of dry fit hat I highly recommend. And if you're a huge baseball fan, then you're in luck because these hats are made for baseball. This is kind of a controversial topic. I don't know why, because these hats are functional. I don't really care that you think that they're cheaply made. But the hats I'm talking about are these fantastic ProLite 5950 hats. These were the spring training and batting practice hats for MLB in 2018. And these are the batting practice hats because not a huge fan of the spring training hats with the patches on the side. Like for Phillies, it'd be the Grapefruit Florida League, and for the Cubs, it'd be the Cactus Arizona League. Point is, these are dry fit material based. These are light. There are a bunch of these out there still. These hats are light on the inside. They're soft. They have that kind of outside, not fabric, but kind of material, nylon, kind of like my other dry fit hat, base material, where it's designed to, as the ads would say for a new era, wick moisture away, absorb the sweat, be a functional hat for outside. But there's always people out there thinking that, oh, these are cheaply made, they're so bad, they're absolute garbage. Yeah, I just took the words right out of your mouth, Billy. I get it. You're with Major League hats. You guys hate these hats. I don't get it. Go. No. Go. Weren't you supposed to get drinks for the class? Lemonade, come on. Anyways, these ProLite hats. At first, when they came out, I wasn't a big fan of them because it was a dry fit material. Like I said before, I didn't like dry fits before. But I got into them, I tried it out, and I liked them. And these hats are functional, first of all, and most importantly. And they're supposed to be like that. They're supposed to be designed to absorb the sweat. I know I sound like a broken record here, but I don't know why people can't get this through their head that these aren't meant to be the official on the field hats for baseball players, but just for spring training games, when it's exhibition, when the games don't matter, or if it's batting practice. I'm gonna put one on because it's comfortable. It's good. I'm gonna show you my Cubs 3930 version too. Now these hats, I would more recommend getting a 5950 than a 3930, which is a stretch fitted. Now, like I said before, previously, a long time ago it feels like, that this kind of hat is perfect with the curved bill and the nice angle. This hat is nice with the curved bill and the kind of low crown angle here, but I'm not going to recommend this too much for when you're outside prolonged. If you're outside for a bit, I can get it. I can see that. But I don't recommend it because I was just outside before I started filming. A few hours ago, I was outside doing some shed reorganizing. And I was wearing this out because, moving around, so it's supposed to absorb my sweat. But the sweatband on the inside is more fabric-y. It has more of a texture, especially on the forehead part, than the 5950. So I'm gonna show you the difference there if you can see it. If not, I'll cut it out. But there's a difference on the insides on the forehead part of the sweatband. I mean, of course, all around, but that's where most of your sweat goes, on your forehead. So you're gonna maybe a 3930 might not be the best, but I would still say it's better than a polyester 5950. Just saying, or even a polyester 3930. So those are the ProLite hats. They're still available here and there on Lids and Fanatics because they're the same thing. There's some on Macy's. When you're getting a fitted 5950 hat, I recommend getting a size up. So usually I'm a 7.5, and both this one and my Phillies hat are 7 5/8 because it just feels more comfortable. So if you're a 7 3/8, get a 7.5 hat for the ProLite hats. Let me show you the current 2019 batting practice spring training hats, just for comparison's sake. This is the 5950 version. It's not low profile. I bent it myself, but would have liked the low profile. This is the Hextech material. You can see kind of like a honeycomb material or pattern on the brim there and on the front next to the cubby face. This is more breathable material than the ProLite hats, which I like, and it's a very comfortable hat. Highly recommend it, and maybe in the 3930 version, just because of the whole brim curvature thing I mentioned before, right? Yeah, that's what I said before. Brim curvature. Go look for a batting practice spring training 3930 2019 version of these. The whole thing about the materials, I know I went on and on and on and on about the materials. The point about materials of your hat being this light fabric, this soft fabric, is you want fabric, or you want material on your head and the hat that is kind of looser and that is meant to absorb the sweat, and it's more breathable, because I'm trying to be a science nerd here, trying to use some basic science, even though I'm a history major. The whole concept of heat rises, so that includes your body. So all the heat in your body will rise to the top of your head, and that's why you sweat so much.
Are you sure about that?
Of course, I'm sure I'm talking out of my butt here, so if anyone wants to correct me, go for it. But just from my personal observations and theories, the heat rises in your body, gets to your head. And when heat is applied, things expand. So when you sweat, your head expands essentially. I mean, not hugely like a balloon, but it'll expand. So that's why you want material like an adjustable hat where your head can expand on the inside, and it won't feel uncomfortable. Because when you're outside working and running around doing whatever outside, you want a hat that will kind of go with your head. That won't make your head feel uncomfortable, like it's suffocating your head and you're gonna get a migraine. But you want a hat that's comfortable. You want a hat that will have breathable, soft material that'll go along with your expanding head. So that's my shtick about the materials. Let me get to the back side of the hat and talk about mesh quickly. So just a little bit more about the materials on the hat, primarily looking on the back side of the hat. Now, for breathability, there's a huge thing when you're outside, letting your head breathe, to keep down your head from expanding with all the heat. So with like a regular hat, this kind of adjustable hat, you got this hole in the back, and then you got the eyelets up here, and that's really it for breathability. So if you want a hat that you can feel the nice wind, nice breeze through, I would recommend a mesh backing hat, mesh backed hat. Now this is a 5950 version. It's a very comfortable hat. I also have a few other hats post-season. This was a weird hat for a post-season hat with a mesh back. What else? What other mesh back hats do I have? There's like a trucker hat that Peter gave to me at work, and a few more mesh hats I have here. Colorado with this plastic backing. Also my dude hats from 8th grade, another plastic back. And these kind of plastic back mesh hats, you can see from most of them, the front two panels are the structured portion. I haven't seen a hat where the front two panels are unstructured. I mean, kinda, this is unstructured, but that's a different scenario. Most of the time, you'll see the front two panels being structured and the back four panels being the whole mesh back. These kind of plastic mesh backs are great because it has more breathability than, say, a fabric meshed hat. This is my Northwestern top. This is my Northwestern top of the world stretch fitted hat, and this has a fabric meshed back. Front two panels are still structured, but the back four panels have a different mesh material, where it has these diamond holes instead of these square holes like you saw with the other hats. But on the inside, there's a fabric in between. It feels softer than a plastic mesh back, but for breathability, this one is a close second to the plastic mesh back. So this just has straight holes where the wind can just blow through your hair left and right, compared to one of these fabric back hats with the mesh. Still good hats. Also, go Blackhawk. Feel it for yourself. Whatever feels good to you, that's a hat you should get. Let's move on to the next topic. Okay, before we get into our recess here, because I figured I'll talk about hats in general in the first part, and then how to, protect your hat from sweat and, take care of your hat in the summertime in part 2. So before we get into recess, let's talk about just a few fun hats. So these kind of hats aren't universally used a lot, but these are kind of fun hats to just wear because if you have them, they're fun. I'm talking about bucket hats, and even if it has a string on it. So these hats are kind of omnidirectional for sun protection. You got this nice vintage Walmart hat. So I wore this a few times in band camp for high school. Got a lot of looks and questions about, what are you wearing? Are you going fishing? Nope. It's just, omnidirectional. It's a 360 protection from the sun, essentially. So it looks a little goofy, you could say, but it's a nice summer party hat, I would say. Especially if you have a rum sponsored Cubs hat, so this is a freebie, so that's why I still have it. Bucket hats are pretty cool. They I see a lot of them used during spring training practice and when it's training camp for the football players in like August. You'll see a lot of them being debuted on lids or New Era, and they're cool hats. Should I get some more? Probably. A lot? Nah, just a few more. Just to, make it look cool. Just to be different. Because hat diversity is number one thing we uphold in this class. Now, a lot of times you'll see on the side these kind of like metal. I'll put up a picture. I think I'll try to. But like there'll be like a metal hole on the side that provides ventilation, and those hats are really nice for the breeze going through your head, breathability. And most of the time, these hats are made out of like cotton or polyester, like this one, and it's a light polyester. So I would recommend these hats, if you're sitting in the bleachers, if you're being a bleacher bum at Wrigley, go Cubs, of course. If you're out in the lake doing whatever, just outside enjoying the sun, these are just different hats, cool hats, I would say. So bucket hats, not an always time hat, but a sometimes hat that makes you stand out. Just to end class with another crazy hat style that you wouldn't see all the time, but if you're being invited to fancy barbecue parties or graduation parties or whatever like that, you could always wear a fedora. I mean, you've got, the eyelet holes for breathability. If you look good in a fedora, wear it. I'm not the best with fedoras, but sometimes I wear them. They come in handy here and there. So, yeah, if you're going to a fancy party, try a fedora. Why not? Just make sure that it's a light material. It fits all the way on top of your head, and not like this, where it's like, just above your head. I mean, it works like this, but the more it sits on your head, the more room, the better. That's my recommendation. Let's wrap up class here with a quick review before recess. Alright. That was a lot for the first session here. Let's do a quick review of what we covered in this first part of summer class. One more hat. I totally forgot just before I uploaded to YouTube. Whoops. I forgot one of the best hats I think for the summertime is I have this kind of hat in a winter style. It can be used for winter with the material, but if you have a cotton material hat like this, perfect for summertime and looking pretty cool. The ivy cap. Chappy cap I sometimes call, newsboy hat. This kind of flat brim hat here where the material is over the brim and makes a overlaying look right there, if you can see that. I know I'm in the sun with a beige hat here, but I like the ivy caps. They're pretty cool. They're interesting. They're different to wear than a regular ball cap. Don't wear it to the ball game, this kind of hat. It's not really that cool looking at a baseball game. But if you're out, at the barbecue party or wherever, kind of fancy-ish like that, this is a pretty nice casual hat for those type of events. So go find yourself an ivy cap. This one I found at Target for like 10, 13 bucks, I think. So they're pretty easy to find. Ivy caps are the hats that you want to find. That's what these are primarily called. Or newsboy, either way. So it's got pretty decent coverage with the brim in the front. But yeah, it's more of a fancy-ish hat, not a work hat for outside. Alright, so now let's finish the video. First, I went over the right kind of brim that you need for your hat when you're outside doing outside activities. Again, repeating myself, jogging, running, biking, outside, yard work, whatever, outside for activity. The more curve of the brim, the better, because of the way the profile looks. It'll be more slanted, and it'll get better coverage from the sun. compared to a flat brim hat. Flat brim, you can wear outside if you want. These are just my recommendations, of course. Then I went over the materials of a hat, where cotton hats and dry fit polyester light material hats are the best kind of hats to wear outside. Whereas it's kind of designed to get wet. It's designed to absorb all your sweat and to maybe have a little bit of breathability, but to, expand with your head as it gets warmer, as you're sweating, the heat rises, head expands, science that I made up, I think. So, getting a dry fit, pro light even, hat, I recommend a lot. If you want a little bit more breathability in the back, then a mesh back hat is something I would recommend. Of course, a bucket hat is always fun to wear outside. It's a little bit different. And a fedora is for maybe some fancy occasions. So, we're going to take a quick break here. I think Billy has come back with the drinks. Right, Billy? No. Well, of course you wouldn't. Fan-freaking-tastic. Okay, well, everyone, let's take a few-minute break here. Let's take 10. Get your sandwiches and your lunch bags, and we're going to come back and talk about how to take care and protect your hats in the sun, the sweat, the rain, and I'll talk about a few accessories that you can purchase from various places that can help with summertime hats. So, if you haven't already, subscribe, like to the channel, leave a comment down below about anything. I know Major League Hats will always comment, and hopefully he won't take too much offense to what I'm saying, especially how great Pro Light hats are, because they are. Alright, let's take a 10-minute break. And break!